Raising boys sucks. It's hard. They nasty. They loud. They disobey. And then they come right on back around and try to hug you. So I say that to say there are some things I've learned from raising my two sons. And I ain't done yet. One of them is 10 and the other one is 15. But I'm going to tell you guys the 3 things that I figured out on this short journey that I've been on for the last 15 years and how to raise them up as men. Now, before I start, drop something in the comments and let me know if you're a parent, if you have boys, if you have girls, but especially if you have boys. This video is for you. If they're on the younger side, please take some notes. If they're on the older side, drop your gems in the comments. The first thing I've realized from raising boys is being easy on them is a setup for a disaster. Something that I've started to do just recently that I'm figuring out is good for them is when it's time for me to discipline them, when it's time for me to put a punishment in action or put a reward system together, I think to myself, is this something that hurts my feelings? Like, is it hard for me to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, does it make me feel bad? Does it make me feel sad? If it does, then I'm on the right track. Okay? You know, what I've learned, especially from my 10-year-old now, is that the more yeses I give him, the worse he be. You know, because when it's time for a no, he's not prepared. He's not prepared. So, personal story, y'all. All this week, me and his daddy been knowing him to death. And when I tell you, he feel like he about to have a mental breakdown, all because we've been telling him no, or all because we haven't been letting the foot off the gas. We've been meaning what we say and saying what we mean. And I realize why this is so hard for him is because he was used to the yeses. He was used to just the, oh yeah, go ahead. You know, because these kids get on my nerves. They get on your nerves. You know, so you want them to hurry up and get out your face. So you just went on ahead and say yes. But I'm realizing, no. One day, a time is really going to come where they're gone. And they're not in my face. And I'm going to be an empty nester. And it's going to suck. So, I feel like just, you know, gather up your energy, Lexi. Do what you got to do. And make sure you say no. Say no, because being too easy is just a recipe for a disaster, and it's not going to raise him up to be the type of man that he needs to be in this society. Number 2, being inconsistent. Now, I ran across a post on social media that Michelle Obama, it was a video, I believe. Michelle Obama was basically saying that, you know, they ain't got nothing else to do. He don't have nothing else to do. These boys don't have nothing to do except wait on you to crack. You know, this is what leads to our inconsistency as parents or as boy moms, you know. Let me give you an example. My kid loves to buy Roblox, whatever it's called. And I'll say to him, no, not yet. And he'll come back asking, can I have $10 for Roblox? And I'm like, nah, let me think about it. And that's another thing that gets me, to let me think about it. You know, why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? Just say no. You know? So, that's a trigger word for him. Oh, let me think about it? Let me come back and bother the heck out of her so that eventually she'll cave and say yes. Okay? And then, what'll happen too is, as far as the inconsistency goes, one week, I'll be firm. And then the next week, I'll be easy. And one week, the bedtime exists. And then the next week, the bedtime don't exist. The inconsistency is what's ruining them. Okay? And the reason why I can say this with ease, and I can say this with my chin up, is because I'm in these shoes too. But I'm learning just as well as you are that these are the things that these boys need. And these are the things that, you know, are the key factors that are going to raise them to be the type of men that they need to be in this society. You know, so being consistent and being hard on them now is going to pay off in the end. I have a little cousin who's in school right now to become a podiatrist, y'all. And he called my son and told him every summer his grandma used to make him do homework. And he would be so mad. He would be so mad. And he would sit at that table sometimes till 8 o'clock at night, all because he didn't want to do his homework. Yeah, he ate, but he just hated it. He hated it. But now, here he is in school to be a podiatrist, and told me the other day, and told my son, man, I'm so glad they made me do that. I'm so glad grandma made me do that, because now, when it comes down to doing work, it's easy. You see what I'm saying? And so that's something that, you know, he even taught me in that moment, because he was like, yeah, I complain too. The complaining and the crying and the whining is just something that they use to help us say no and make us feel bad for them. Nah, not no more. Not no more. Not on my watch. So what I've been doing is I've been having simple rules that are easy for me to remember, that I've been making stand and making consistent. For instance, and this might not be the same in everybody's house, but this summer, I made my sons go to bed at 11 o'clock sharp. 11 o'clock p.m. sharp. No ifs, ands, no buts, no 11:01, no 11:02, nothing. The minute that they messed up, the next day, it was 10 o'clock, right? Then after that, they went to bed 11 o'clock on the dot every since. Okay? So it's making them be better. It's making them grow up to be better men, better young men, and not get caught up, you know? Have you ever had a rule that you tried to enforce and it didn't work? Or do you have a rule now that you are enforcing and it is working? If so, drop a comment and let us know, because you helping somebody too, girl. So far, we've said the number one thing is being too easy on them backfires. The number two thing is being inconsistent with our rules. And then the number three thing, which I already touched on a bit, is just saying yes too daggone much. Like, we really need to start replacing our yeses for nos, and start saying no just for the heck of it, just to see, you know what I'm saying, just to see what they're gonna say and how they're gonna act. Like my older son, Mom, can I go to the movie this weekend? No. For what? Why I can't go? You just can't. Because you need to hear no. That's it. Now, he don't have to hear my reasoning, which is, I'm sick of you going to the movies in the dark with that little girl. That's the real reason. But I didn't say that. I just said no. No. And then he asked again the next weekend, can we go to the movie? I said nope. And then the next weekend, well, can I go to the park in the daytime? Which park? Sure. You know, so it's like, I'm really starting to see saying yes too much. Oh, God, it's such a problem. It's such a problem. And we have this for our boys because they're our boys. They're our sweet little sons, you know. The boys love their mommies. Boys just, and they're so sweet and loving and kind and just delicate, you know. My sons love to give me hugs. They love to say goodnight to me. They love to say I love you before they go to bed. All the things, you know. One time when I got into a car accident, immediately my son called me because he got the little crash thing on his phone. And he said, Mom, you okay? You okay? And he called me before anybody else, you know. And it's just a beautiful thing. But we can't let their sweetness and their us being their moms and them being our little guys and just, you know, our sweet little sons, we can't mess it up and make them be sucky, you know, mama's boys when they get to be adults. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. So overall, I'm realizing that our sons need us mothers to be tough, to be firm, to say no, and just mean it overall, especially if there's not a man or father in the home. They're gonna need it even more so. So tell me one thing that you're doing that is helpful in raising your sons that you want to share with others. And if you like this video, it's definitely one geared to the moms. Please like and subscribe, and we will talk later.